Euromaxx Highlights, and here's your host, Anne O'Donnell.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Euromaxx Highlights. Thanks for joining us. Well, we have put together the best bits of the week for you. Let's have a look at the headlines. Rock On! The German band Scorpion celebrate 50 years on stage. Cover Up! The Ballo del Doge is one of Venice's most exclusive masquerade balls. And Living Legacy, the art of Hundertwasser continues to impress. Well, we have lots of viewers around the world and many of them are interested in the German language. Not even a complex word like Donaudampfschiff, Fahrtsgesellschaftskapitän, Witwe can turn people off. And if you're one of them, you're not alone. In recent years, the number of German learners has actually grown. Euromaxx finds out why.
Germany is known for its exports, but the country's language is less in demand than its products. German has a reputation for being complicated, and most people seem to agree.
It's a very difficult language.
It's very strict and I think more military language.
Yes, it probably does sound harsh.
Or abrupt, maybe?
Yeah, it's quite abrupt.
Still, German is gaining in popularity. At Goethe institutes around the world, about 20% more people are learning it now than they were 6 years ago. German has become the fourth most popular foreign language to learn, after English, French, and Chinese. Linguist Ulrich Ammann has spent years observing the spread of German language, and his new book provides reasons for its growing popularity.
Germany's reputation in the world has improved in recent years, primarily because of its economic stability. Everything else radiates from that. It's why suddenly people find German culture more interesting than they used to.
Those who speak German have better chances of getting a job with a German company. The success of German soccer players has also fueled interest in the country and its language. And then there's Berlin, which has been considered a hip destination for some time now. It's especially popular to take a course in German in the capital. Here at the GLS Language Center, 280 students from 23 countries are learning German. Many have been studying it for several years. Some of them have pulled up favorite words from the vocabulary depths.
Vaterschaftsklage.
Nachtsprache offen.
Haftpflichtversicherung.
These students come from South America, Asia, and Southern Europe. The class is a fair representation of regions where German is in high demand. For many who are learning German, grammar is a sticking point.
I would say it's a beautiful language, but difficult to learn. I always say I'll never master German, but I'll never stop trying.
German is increasingly providing other languages with loanwords like Zeitgeist, Gemütlichkeit, or the prefix über. Germanisms have also caught on in the international restaurant and bar scene. A trendy restaurant in New York is named the Fette Sau. A bar in Copenhagen goes by Heidi's Beer Bar, and one in London is called Katzenjammers. Journalist Sven Siedenberg has traced which German words have emigrated to other languages the most, and he outlines them in his book.
German adds a touch of the exotic to other languages. Those who use it feel they're someone special. Maybe they have a feeling of belonging to the avant-garde.
But not everyone feels that way. Bias against the German language is still around. In Venezuela, for example.
People think it's a very difficult language and very harsh, one that doesn't sound nice.
The German band Rammstein has fueled its worldwide career by exaggerating a Teutonic image. That got a lot of young people, especially foreign young people, interested in the language.
Am Anfang konnte ich kein R.
At first, I couldn't speak the German R.
Habe ich das geübt mit
Then I practiced while gargling with water after brushing my teeth.
danach Zähneputzen.
A current trend on YouTube is videos comparing German's oh-so-harsh sound with other languages.
Surprise.
Surprise. Surpresa. Überraschung.
But it's all in good fun. After all, German is now uber cool.
As long as you don't have to play German Scrabble, that is. Anyway, moving on to the latest album by the German band The Scorpions, which is out now to mark their 50th year in showbiz. Well, we caught up with the German rockers to get the lowdown on the concept behind their new album, Return to Forever. First though, here's a look at their latest music video.
We Built This House by the Scorpions. It's the first single from their new album, Return to Forever. It marks the band's golden jubilee, and it proves the Scorpions are still going strong.
Music is a passion. You can't just stop doing it. It's an important part of your life, probably the most important. You don't just start doing something else.
They started recording the album in 2011. The original plan was to release some older material and then call it a day.
We found lots of lovely numbers from the 80s. We'd always said we would return to them one day. We've always had an excess of songs. You can only fit 8 or 9 songs onto an LP. There were always titles left over.
As they worked on Return to Forever, new ideas emerged. So the final result is a mix of new and old. Of course, all the tracks have that unmistakable Scorpion sound.
What we've done is revive the magic of those years in the present day.
Guitarist Rudolf Schenker launched the band in 1965. Singer Klaus Meine joined 4 years later. In the 1970s and 80s, the 5 band members played to huge audiences across Asia, Europe, and the United States, and were in the charts all over the world.
We never said we are the greatest. We said our next album will be even better.
In 1990, Wind of Change proved to be one of their biggest hits, making it into the charts in 78 countries. In all, the Scorpions have sold more than 100 million records. In 2012, the Scorpions went on a farewell tour, but then they changed their mind and decided to carry on. That tour was a huge success. The following year, they were invited to play an MTV Unplugged concert.
At MTV Unplugged, we played for 2 hours sitting down. We should have said, sorry, we've just retired, but of course we didn't. It's a new challenge.
Let's go for it.
The Scorpions still enjoy the spotlight. A documentary about their long career in music premiered here in Berlin a few days ago. Forever and a Day was dreamed up and co-produced by Deutsche Welle. It goes on general release in March. The album and the film are like birthday presents for the band.
There aren't many still going after 50 years, and even fewer who crown it with a new album. These are exciting times. Let's see what else life has in store for us.
In May, the Scorpions go on tour again, visiting Europe, Russia, and kicking off in China on May the 1st.
Well, moving on now to Venice for the highlight of the carnival calendar. The Doge's Ball is held every year, and we have some great snippets of last week's masquerade party, which was held in Italy's beautiful floating city. There is a very strict dress code, and it's not that easy to get there either. Let's have a look.
The only way guests can get to the Doge's Ball is by boat. The event on the Grand Canal captures Venice in all its myths and glory. 400 guests have come here to participate in the celebrations. Fancy dress is required. Italian actress Monica Milanese is among them. It's her second time here.
You feel like you are in a movie. You don't just watching something, looking something, but you are completely involved in the whole atmosphere.
The evening extravaganza was organized by Antonia Zauta.
Please, have a look. That's very beautiful.
She's been putting together the entire program for the last 21 years. She's a costume designer by profession. She didn't just create the outfits for all the acts. She also made the guests' costumes herself. You can only participate in the Doge's Ball wearing one of her designs.
You know, the costume takes you into another world, the world of fantasy. And this is a pleasant world of fantasy, where you can be who you want to be. You can act as you want to act.
In the run-up to the big night, Monica Milanese visits Zauta's studio to pick out a costume. She has more than 1,500 to choose from. Zauta adds new outfits and masks every year. She draws her inspiration from traditional Venetian costumes.
Sometimes my costumes are a mixture between something that is belonging to the past and something very modern that is looking to the future.
After hours of searching, Monica finally finds the dress that she thinks suits her best.
This one suggests you something about carnival. It is, at the same time, it's so elegant, so feminine, and it's like to wear a beautiful, necklace of diamonds.
Anyone who wants to rent one of these exquisite costumes for a night has to spend €1,000 on average. And tickets to the ball can cost up to €2,500 if you book the 5-course menu too.
Crazy expensive. It's freaking ridiculous. And I will never do it again.
Dreams aren't cheap though, are they? Dreams, a dream, you can't put a cost on a dream.
Beauty and life and excitement, and it's one of those things that you don't mind spending money for.
Many guests hide their faces behind masks, including VIPs who relish going incognito for a change. Famous or not, everyone here enjoys trying out a different role.
Because I'm not wearing my jeans and my sweater, I feel more beautiful. I feel more ready for adventure.
There's a spirit in the air. There's a particular mood. It's the mood of Venetian carnival.
And where else could you flirt with Casanova in such style? For Monica Milanese and many others, the Doge's Ball is a brief excursion into the decadent past.
Where men wear more makeup than the women. Well, moving on now, and there is a new diet trend sweeping through the world of slimmers. Move over the Mediterranean diet. The latest fad is the new Nordic diet. Although it's not so new anymore, but it has become really popular of late. That's in part thanks to the health benefits that many research groups attribute to it. Let's find out more about this mainly plant-based diet in the Danish capital.
In winter, temperatures in Copenhagen seldom rise above freezing. Trying to live only from local produce doesn't sound very practical, but that's just what they do at the Radio Restaurant. Devotees of the new Nordic cuisine use exclusively regional ingredients. For example,
so this is one of my favorite vegetables, celeriac, that we can bake or fry or even serve raw. Shoots of ramson, or wild garlic as it is called. And then you've got black cabbage. It's a kind of creating a dishes, a food that reflects nature where you are. The Spanish cuisine that was dominating in the early 2000s was extremely technical and getting further and further away from everything natural. So we said now it's time to come back to nature.
Chefs from around the world are drawing inspiration from the new Nordic cuisine. Lifestyle magazines in Britain and the United States are singing the praises of what they call the Viking diet. It's a trend, but will it last? It actually began about 10 years ago in a restaurant called Noma, which was started by Klaus Meyer and René Redzepi. These days, Noma boasts 3 Michelin stars and placed 4 times as top pick on Britain's Restaurant Magazine's list of the world's best restaurants.
The way they did that just completely changed everything we knew about restaurants. They were serving plates that looked like forest floors and beaches in the north of Denmark and so on. And it was made of the produce that they could find in our close surroundings.
New Nordic cuisine has turned into a gold mine for Klaus Meyer. Nowadays, he runs 6 restaurants and 75 cafeterias around Copenhagen. His delis specialize in regional produce from their own farms. His name is now a trademark.
I mean, we never meant for this phenomenon, the new Nordic cuisine, to be reserved for a culinary elite. What we dreamt of was that this should come into the hands and lives of as many people as possible.
28-year-old food blogger Mia Irene Christensen has also taken up the cause. She tries to put the ideas into practice in her daily meals and organizes cooking courses in her home. It's a new twist on a centuries-old tradition of following the seasons.
The beetroot has really, gotten modern again, and also some of the other old school, root vegetables like parsnip and what's the other one? Parsley root and all the cabbages. The Danes are eating so much cabbage now. It's all about knowing how to prepare it and maybe not use the traditional method. Like beetroots we used to, make soup of, or we used to pickle it. But when you use it raw, it's just a completely different experience.
The trend has picked up support from a recent Danish study indicating the new Nordic cuisine is healthy and promotes weight loss. Cabbage and tubers are complemented by legumes, berries, whole grain foods, and fish, and by meat only sparingly and never from factory farming. Traditional stewing and preserving are undergoing a revival.
This is the finished pork cheeks. You braise it for about 45 to 1.5 hours, depending on how you do it. So in a few hours you have a lovely pot dish, and it's a cut that we kind of forgotten about. They went from being something you could almost get free at the butchers because nobody wanted it, until now you need to pay a lot of money for them.
The return to traditional, natural ingredients is nothing new. Industrially processed foods are also frowned on by the raw food diet, clean eating, slow food, and others. But none are as extreme as the Paleolithic diet, whose disciples tried to eat like their Stone Age ancestors. There are even Paleolithic-style restaurants.
We cannot get this simplicity in our daily work life or in our relationships, in the society that surrounds us. That is incredibly demanding, then we could probably seek that simplicity in our own kitchen.
Many trends have turned out to be flashes in the pan, but not the new Nordic cuisine. Its popularity has only grown, even as standard family fare. But the Vikings themselves might have found it all a bit hard to swallow.
Well, Hundertwasser is a household name in the art world. The late Austrian became one of the best-known contemporary artists by the end of the 20th century. Well, to mark his 15th anniversary of his death, we hear Euromaxx take a look at the man and his legacy.
The art of Friedensreich Hundertwasser is whimsical and imaginative. He created his own fantastical world.
I'm guided by dreams, the way I imagine children dream.
The exhibition at the Osthaus Museum in Hagen, entitled Lifelines, explores all aspects of his work. In each genre, he found his own personal language. Spirals are his trademark. He rejected straight lines and loved wavy ones. He relished brilliant colors. Critics say his art is kitschy.
The important thing is that art can be attractive and at the same time imaginative, and it can help us view things in a less intellectual manner, to indulge in our need for beauty, color, and form. And that is the legacy of Hundertwasser.
Hundertwasser was born in 1928 in Vienna. As a schoolboy, he was commended by his art teacher for his unusual sense of form and color. For him, the earth was a paradise that we must protect and adorn. He was a pioneer of ecological thinking. He created a device that uses plants to purify water. He dreamed up playful, enticing buildings. Some were even built.
I want to make lots of people happy, not depressed. I don't want to burden them with more problems. They already have enough.
He turned to architecture in his 50s. His work is marked by curves, towers, ornaments, and rich colors. The Green Citadel in the German city of Magdeburg was his last project. Hundertwasser also left his architectural mark on Vienna. In the 1980s, he remodeled an apartment building in his distinctive manner.
I personally think it's a really nice contrast between all the sort of monumental architecture that you see around Vienna that's very straight-liney.
It's very beautiful. This is the first time that I've seen something like this, and it's amazing, the colors and the architecture. I like it very much.
Young artists in Vienna claim Hundertwasser as an influence, including those who covered the facade of this house with graffiti last year. Hundertwasser considered the exteriors of buildings our third skin, after our own skin and our clothes, and believed that we may design and decorate them any way we like. His influence extends beyond art and architecture. The Berlin DJ Alle Farben says Hundertwasser has been a source of inspiration for his music.
He had such a childlike, naive quality, and that is something I like to see in my work too. Both highly professional and thought through, and at the same time, childlike and simple. I think it's very hard to achieve that, but it's what I try to do.
Hundertwasser was once derided as an oddball. Now he's a star. There's plenty of merchandise to prove that. Postcards, woolens, umbrellas, the labels on bottles of wine. He seems to be everywhere, colorful and friendly.
I see Hundertwasser in the context of pop history. His legacy, his continuing presence, is part of pop history. You don't have to imitate him, but you can certainly learn from his fantastical language, his formal language, and his palette. That would suit him just fine.
Friedensreich Hundertwasser died in February 2000, but his work and his spirit are still with us.
We're going to have to leave it there today. Thanks for joining us for the Highlights Show. We will be back next week with another new week of Euromaxx for you. Stay tuned to DW. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.